Oh, Alex, I have not seen you such a long time.
You miss shitting on me?
We're gonna start in 5 minutes. Alex, you can already send me the sales call, I guess.
Yeah.
So, hello everyone. How is everyone doing? Wow, everyone is so communicative today. Amazing. So give me 1 second, guys, because someone also asked for a link. So please, Trahat, Anita, Matthew, Cameron.
Ernest, I'm sorry, I can't turn my camera on.
Okay, that's fine. Anita, Matthew.
Yep, I'm admitted into a hospital, so
That's fine. That's fine.
thanks.
Matthew, you look dead. Is everything all right? Can you guys see it?
You can skip a bit. I think she showed up a few minutes late.
Okay, let me open the message on.
Skip a bit more. She's trying to figure out how to get into the call. Sending you the meeting ID right now. There we go. No, it's good.
Okay.
It goes on
I'm
my
just
end.
trying to put up. I'm just trying to put up my desk. Oh, sorry about making you wait. I
No.
completely forgot about the meeting. Yes.
Don't worry about it. How are you today? How's
I'm awesome. How are you?
all good?
That's good.
You're based in Johannesburg, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Fuck. Give me 1 second, guys, because my AirPods is just fucking.
So look how these meetings usually go, since I work with financial planners, basically. I'll just ask you a bunch of questions just to try figure out, properly understand your business. You know,
Okay.
what works well for you, what doesn't, what your goals are, whatever. If after that, I think that we can help each other out, I'll show you what I do. We can see where we go from there. If not, I'll
just try to show more confidence. So look, I'm just gonna explain to you how this call typically goes due to the fact that I also work with financial planners. So I'm just gonna ask you a couple of questions just to simply understand what works good for you in your business, what doesn't. And then by the end of the day, if I'm gonna have a feeling, hey, there is a potential for helping you out or just simply for us to work together, I'll be more than happy to walk you through everything that I'm doing. Does that sound fair for you? Like,
Yeah.
just try to show some confidence in, especially in the beginning of the call.
just tell you that I don't think we're a good fit, and then we're just gonna end the meeting so we don't waste my time or yours. How does that
Okay.
sound?
That sounds good.
Okay, cool. So how long have you been a planner for?
I've been a planner for 6 years now.
That's after you passed the CFP, or you're still in the
Correct.
process of doing that?
No, so after passing the CFP, I think I got my CFP in 2022. So from 2022, 22, 23, 24, 25, 4 years.
Okay. And are you independent or do you work for a firm?
I work for a bank, Standard
Work
Bank.
for a bank. So you're
Yeah.
commission based, am I correct?
So I'm salaried, but there are some that are commission based.
Okay.
Yes, depending on what segment or what division of the business you work with. I'm salaried, but most are commission based, yeah.
Okay. And at the bank, do you have your own client book, or do you just have?
We don't have necessarily well we could call it our client book, but it's the bank's clients. So you've got private bankers that build a relationship with the clients, and then when they see opportunities, then they connect them to trusted planners that they're linked to.
Right, so you are a trusted planner in that
Correct.
case? Right, so you
Yes.
basically get all your clients from from the bank.
Yes, from the banker, or sometimes it could be a lead from a client someone who's already a client. They refer a friend or a colleague, and then
Cool. So
But
where is major of your clients coming from? Is it from the bank or is it from referrals? Okay, cool. And how many clients do you have right now? And you just go into that direction. I really hope you did that.
most of the lead is generated from the private bankers.
So if I understood correctly, you have your book, kind of, that's given to you mostly by the bank, but you also sometimes
Correct.
get clients externally, right?
Correct. Yes.
So when you get clients externally, how does that work? Does that still go through the bank, or do you just
It goes through the banks, but it goes through me. So like instead of so what would happen is if the private banker is the one that makes the referral, they get a commission. If you bring it in, then you get a bigger, so you get a salary and you get a commission over and above that. So you get a bigger portion of the commission. And in that client, like if I want to leave, maybe perhaps any client that I brought on directly, I could leave with those clients, but any client that came to me as a result of a private banker stays with the bank, and the book is then given to another planner.
Yeah, I see.
Yes.
Ooh. So in this case, you will want to understand if she wants to get more private clients,
Yeah, that's what I
because
try
that gives her
to
more security.
that's what I try to focus on. Plus also
Good.
me getting her more clients. If she just gets a
Yep.
salary and nothing else off of it, doesn't make sense, you know.
Good.
So it's technically in your interest to try find as many clients as possible also outside the bank. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So roughly out of all the planners that I've worked with, that I work with as well, maybe only 20% have a marketing system, right? And those 20% get 70% of their clients from mainly LinkedIn or Facebook, depends what they're using, right? So what methods have you tried for client generation, for lead generation?
It would be, there's this thing called financial fitness that the bank introduced. So basically it's a company that gives you training and a qualification, and then you're able to have like events or conferences where you speak to people about financial wellness. That's one of the other ways that our leads are generated. So after going so it's not set up by the business, the bank. I would set up such an event. Maybe it's a small business. I reach out to them and I'm like, can I do a presentation for your employees? I do the presentation, and then any of the leads generated from there comes directly to me. That's the only other method I use besides referrals from clients
So basically an old version of webinars.
and referrals from
Basically,
private
financial
bankers.
fitness. Amazing.
Yeah.
How well That's a has shit this name. been working for you? If you could walk me through the numbers there.
In terms of what's the word? In terms of switching from potential to client,
The
I'd say it's
conversion.
about, yes, the conversion ratio, probably 60-70%. So it's fairly good, yeah. And I don't know if it's because of the marketing tool itself or because of how I would maybe facilitate that class or that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this still falls into the category of referrals, like presentations,
Yes.
events. It technically falls
Yes,
into
yes.
the referral category. Referral conversion rate tends to be higher because, obviously it's easier to close if the person,
Yes.
talks to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done no other method, or did you try anything? Maybe
No,
emails,
I have
maybe
not.
ads?
No,
Okay.
I've never called. That's not something I've ever
No,
done.
cold calling
Yeah.
is not something a financial planner should be spending their time on.
Yeah, it's just not, yeah.
You will be surprised, like in a lot of countries, people think that they can just fucking cold call people. That's
For
the only
financial planning.
why she's mentioning it. So whenever you have a similar call, you can also say, obviously, I'm not saying cold calling right now, because you can make fun of it. So they're actually gonna feel bad if they would have wanted to say cold calling. Because, for example, in Germany, all the fucking thing they do is cold call, even though cold calling is illegal in Germany.
That's what I tried to do with this comment.
Yeah. Okay.
Should just be more straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah, cold calling shit, basically. Yeah.
Well, obviously, don't say
Not
cold
exactly
calling
in those
shit,
words, but
but just rephrase it.
Right.
where it's more professional, but you know what it means.
Okay. So could I ask you how many external clients do you have and how many internal? Just walk me through the numbers. So like
Wrong question, because you have not finished everything about acquisition. What you should have asked right now would be, so how many of those fitness, there was a fucking word she used, fitness something,
financial fitness,
financial fitness, or just simply how many of those events do you host? And if you want to go that far, you can also walk her, like on the basis that she will say a decent amount, you could be like, oh, okay, and how much are you spending for those events? Ah, okay. And how much on average does it bring you? And then you can run the calculations with it. And then you will want to ask the client base, like how many clients are from the bank, how many are external.
How many clients
good.
work for the bank
I missed that. That
for
would be
your
a good way
salary?
to.
How much clients you have that are
Huh?
So that would be a good way to. I keep struggling with specifically catching moments when I can ask in a nonchalant way how much they make.
It's not about that. It's about understanding where you want to guide them in the call in order to be able to ask that.
Okay.
Or it's just simply asking a question with which you're gonna be like, that is gonna give you an information with which you can then recalculate that.
Right. Okay. So just as much detail as I can, basically, on the topics
Yes, but
that
like
matter.
not details about all life and existence, but just details that you actually care about.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. By the way, guys, can you hear me good? Because I don't know why I'm just hearing you terribly, or I just never use the speakers on my laptop.
I hear you good.
Okay, that's fine.
or technically your separate book?
I'm not going to lie, I've not looked at that figure.
Could you
I've
give me
not
an
been
estimate,
very.
roughly?
There's a lot of, because the thing is, some of the clients are just like a touch and go. They just come in for a single need, lump sum. They want to keep it there for 15, 20 years. I wouldn't consider those clients. And there's a lot of those, especially because we're a bank. Oh, that's,
Okay, in that
I
case,
can't even give you here.
what about the external clients? Is it like the ones you said that sometimes come from referrals from which you get a commission? Are those clients also, lump sum one-time job, or are they also, or do you have some clients that are maybe long-term,
Some of them are long term. Because the thing is, I've only started working at the bank for less than 2 years, so that's why it's fairly new, and I can't give you like a clear-cut answer.
Yeah.
And so I'll be lying if I said they're long term because I haven't worked with them long term. I'm hoping that they will be, but it's not always the case.
I have a feeling she lives with her mom. There was a black woman in the background.
It was going
That
home.
tells you a lot about someone's financials. Like, not necessarily, because like I'm generalizing, but this is also something you should keep in mind.
Maybe it was the other girl
Okay.
from the other call.
Can I find out a bit more about these clients you said that are outside your salary, the ones you get commission from, right? How does it work vis-a-vis the bank? As in,
So how it works is when a client comes in, we can charge an initial fee on whatever they're investing of up to 3%. That's the maximum. And then ongoing fee is it's capped at 1%. So you can charge anything up to 1% annual. And then in terms of how the split is between myself and the bank, it's usually a 40 to me, 60 to the bank, or 50 to me and 50 to the bank.
right, so you basically, and what about the 3%? Do you also split that with the bank?
Yes, that's also split with the bank.
But you're the one taking care of the clients, right? So
The
you
clients,
do all their
yes.
planning, etc.
Yes.
Do you have an average AUM or a minimum AUM?
Minimum? Oof, no. Because it's such a mixture. Some people are purely insurance risk, and so we just get premiums. It's so mixed. It's really mixed.
Okay.
It's mixed, yeah.
In that case, give me a profile of your ideal client, right? External client. So you will find somebody
Ideal,
outside the bank, like an external client. What's your ideal situation?
Okay, ideal situation would be someone that has a lump sum, someone that wants to have holistic planning. So not just looking at investing, but also looking at taking out life cover, disability cover, income protection. Someone that also wants to do an estate plan so that we could also do the will for them and with them. So that's my ideal type of client. Investment wise, at least investing 1,000 rand a month, a minimum of that. Open to that if there's a large lump sum investment, or maybe if it's a grandson or granddaughter of a client. Yeah.
I understand. So you basically want them to not only have investing to do, but also
risk,
a
because
bunch
a
of
lot
other
of
stuff.
commission actually, risk pulls in a lot of commission.
You use the higher percentage than
So in terms of risk, so the 3% and the up to 1%, that's for investments. In terms of risk, I don't actually know how the insurer is calculated, but it's based on the premium. So depending on how high the premium is and depending on which insurer you're working with, they will pay you out a commission over 2 years. So for example, an example I can give you is if someone has a premium of 11,000, then I just did this recently. The first year commission is like over 100,000. Second year commission is about 37,000.
like it's based on the premium of 11K.
Yes.
Okay, I see. So that's like what, like more than 90% of it?
I don't know
They
how
pay?
they calculate it, but I think what they're betting on is hoping that the client doesn't default on the policy because it's supposed to be like a whole of life policy. And so they're banking on, so as long as the client continues to pay the
No, it's calculated based on the LTV. It's very similar to real estate in Dubai. So a lot of real estate agents, what they do is, especially when it comes to off-plan properties, which means properties that have not been built yet, you can, let's say the property, costs, I don't know, 250,000. You can put down, let's say 2,500. Then you just pay it off monthly because let's say the property needs to be built in 3 years. But the realtor that is selling it to you, he already receives the full commission from the developer, not from the client, because it doesn't have, the commission doesn't go from the client side, it goes from the company. So in this case, the bank. So they have a calculated estimate that they know how much someone is gonna spend. So that's why they are giving her the commission.
the premiums for 2 years, then there's no clawback. But if they lapse the premium within the 2 years, then there's a clawback and I have to pay back the commission. Unless the client pays the amount in arrears. Yeah.
I see. So do you prefer working with a mix of the investment and the
Yes, a mix, mix of
and the
risk
risk?
and yeah.
Oh, I see. So this way, if they stop working with you, you still are kind of safe on the investment side.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I see. What would be the biggest client you're working with at the moment? Again, talking about, since the bank clients are not so much under your control. I mean, you work with them, but you bring them from the bank and trying to focus on the external ones.
That I can remember from top of mind. There aren't many like this, but the largest was 18 million. It was a mixed investment. So actually in total, it was 18 million for the husband, and for the wife, it was about 7 million rand.
So 20.
Yeah, don't forget about the currency difference, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I calculated it in the code.
Yes. But
And
they didn't do any risk. They just did investments. So
right,
it was
so
a mixture of unit trusts, living annuity, and endowment.
Okay. Interesting. How long have you been working with this couple?
It was actually passed on to me from another plan. I started working with them last year, November.
So it's been a while. Are they happy with the results?
Yes, they are. They haven't complained. They were satisfied with the service I gave them. The wife doesn't really understand the investment world, so she likes to call in and check in. Yeah.
It's just
Good to be a wife. Husband comes in, here is 7 million invested.
sensible thing to do. Okay. I saw on your profile that you're also teaching.
Yes, I'm an lecturer at university.
Sounds interesting. Could you walk me through how you're keeping the balance in between the two? How much time it takes you, how much free time you have, etc.
So lecturing is usually in the evening. It's one class every week. Yeah. It's in the evening at 6 p.m. and then I work from 8 to 4:30. Sometimes I can stretch, but that's the normal working time. How I balance it is after work, like now, I would start looking at slides because I have to put the slides together. So I'd spend like maybe an hour a day putting portion by portion of the slides together. Last week was actually test week, so I spent that week marking scripts, uploading the marks. The week after, the week before rather, I spent the whole week putting together the tests because I also have to assemble the test and all of that, the tests. So it's usually after hours that I do this. Sometimes I do find it going like late into the night. Other times, not really.
And do you do it? Well, firstly, let me ask you, what exactly do you teach? I'm assuming something related
investment
to
management. Yeah, investment management. Yeah, or investment planning rather.
Do you do it purely out of is teaching something you enjoy, or do you do it for monetary reasons?
Okay, investment management, cool. And it may be an odd question, but what's the purpose with it? The reason I'm asking is like it seems time constraining. So are you doing it just for the personal benefit, or are you doing it for any monetary reasons?
That's what I asked. No,
Like, is it a fancy
It's
university or
just,
something?
Yeah. No, but you can reformulate it as well.
okay.
And yeah, I really hope after that you have asked what's the main focus, or like obviously depending on the fucking answer here, but yeah.
So it is the top hash run university in Africa. I do it for both. I do it for both. So number one, it's gaining skills because I'm trying to move into another division within the bank. So gaining skills from that. And number two, also like the skills and also getting paid. Like people can't survive on one salary, so an alternate form of income. And then just building relationships because you don't know where this could lead. I enjoy speaking to people. So whether it's in the form of lecturing or presenting.
She just told you she's broke. But yeah, this is also something I don't know why how come you speak for the second time with someone from South Africa, by the way?
Well, after I spoke with that other girl,
Yeah.
I realized that like, South Africa has quite a bunch of planners.
Yes, but you
And I
need to take
figured-
into consideration that in South Africa, the salary is so bad that most people in South Africa have 2 or 3 jobs. That's why, like, you could have asked me. Like, you read that.
Yeah. No, I figured. I
No,
just
because
figured
like,
that
you
with
need to
the first
understand, even
one.
when I was hiring someone from South Africa, I will pay them £500 per month. They will live a Gucci life because they don't need to work 2 or 3 jobs. I had people working for me part-time where I would pay them, let's say, 150 to 250 pounds per month. And that will allow them to have another job that they're doing throughout the day, and then they're chilling. That's not a demographic you want to touch because they are broke. The currency difference is too strong.
So I'll
Quite
stop.
literally, 3,500 that you want to charge someone is 63,000.
The current rate is almost identical to the Moldavian currency. It's funny.
I don't know what Moldavian currency is.
It's
But
the
sure.
same. Doesn't matter.
As long as I'm speaking, I enjoy.
Yeah, but like, do you get my point? Like, why do you
Yeah, no,
target
I'll stop
someone like
targeting.
that?
With the first one, I kind of had the feeling that maybe I just got unlucky, and even then, she didn't seem. She said she wants to talk. Like we're still in talks to have another meeting with her other partner, right? So I was like, okay, if I target specifically like successful people, maybe, but I'll stop.
No, but no, that's absolutely besides the fucking point. What you also need to consider is how much are they able to make with people there. So in order to calculate that, you need to understand how much is the average person making there. Because it's not like you're gonna bring her every single day someone who is able to spend 18 million rands.
Yeah.
It's gonna be more of normal individuals where the average salary is, for example, 25,000 rands. Do you get my point?
Yeah, well, I'll stop targeting South Africa.
Yeah, I hope so.
Enjoy that.
I preferred you speaking to someone who was managing 2 billion.
And so it also fulfills a passion part.
I see. So it seems like you have quite a busy schedule. So my question is to you this. Hypothetically, let's say we work together and I bring you, I don't know, 30 clients. Would you be able to handle it, or would you be too busy for it? Are you like are you
Depending
at
on
max
what they
capacity?
needed. No, I'm not at max capacity. But it will also be dependent on what I'm doing for the clients. Is it something that is rigorous? Is it something that can be balanced? Because I don't work on the weekends, obviously. So the weekends are always available to catch up. And then in terms of lecturing, I'm doing it in the first semester. It's investment planning is only a 1 semester module. So second semester, which starts in July. I don't know if I'll be lecturing. I haven't been told anything, but I work under the assumption that I'm not going to be. So yeah, it's largely dependent on what the work is, but I haven't reached full capacity. Yeah.
Right. So say you create the ideal profile of like your ideal client, like as we discussed before, right? And you only are looking to get clients of that exact type, right? How many of those clients could you handle if they all fit your specifications perfectly?
Okay. How many of it can I handle? Probably, realistically speaking, how many? If I have one, I suppose I could have 1 meeting a week, 1 meeting a day. So that's like 5 meetings a week. And so if I put in a month, I'd average it out to 20 for them to get like the care that they need. But it also depends on how needy they are. Some clients are more needy than others. Some just want you to explain to them. They trust you. Like, are you actively managing the portfolio? Some actually want to constantly check in. So it's also dependent on that.
I see.
I'm basing it on, I'm doing full planning for the clients, taking my time with them. Yeah, about 20.
Okay, so 20 would say that's assuming that they're all not too needy, right? But as you said,
Assuming that they're not all too needy, but I do like when we have lengthy conversations on their financial planning. So it's holistic. We're not just looking at investments, we're having discussions about the risk portion of it. Yeah,
of course, you got to have a good idea of somebody's
correct.
financial
Yes,
situation before actually helping them.
that's true. And also another thing I've noticed is the capacity is largely dependent on how quickly I
How ironic you made it, and you don't know shit about her financial situation.
understand the client
Why?
situation, because I found in my team when I initially
Just based off of the salary and just based off that one client she has, she gets paid 100,000 a year just off of that one client,
Yeah,
the rich one.
wonderful.
Plus, she got paid 300,000 euros at some point when she started working with them, which is November.
Cool. Still doesn't change anything because you don't know how much she's making. This is something
Yeah, but
she
she
may
can-
or may not have made. You have never clarified it.
What I did though.
No,
So I asked-
you have never calculated what is she making with other clients. Yes, she has one client that has brought in 18 million, but then you have also not clarified what the provision was. You have
What do you mean?
calculated it out, but you have not clarified it.
So I should have
Yes,
asked that.
because
So
your
you've made this
calculations better
much.
be fucking off.
Okay.
And also you still don't know how much she's making with other clients. You also don't know what she has spent the money on. Believe it or not, there are people who have the tendency to just spend money like nothing.
Okay, so like there where she was like avoiding the questions with how many clients she has because she doesn't know and she can't give me a number and she can't give me an average. Like I've asked her a bunch of questions to try figure that out, and she still didn't
Yeah.
answer them basically. So then what do I do? Just ask her straight?
What the fuck is wrong with my... Say something now.
Yeah? You hear me?
What the fuck? I understand. I know now why you were so silent. What the fuck is Zoom audio device? Say something again.
Better?
Oh my goodness, you're too loud. Wonderful. I figure out. Yes, so yes, you're asking all of those questions to figure out her situation, but then you also will want to have clarified certain things. Because yes, you can do your own calculations. Yes, you can make the assumptions. But you will never be 100% sure till you verify it. It's
So
like...
is it not
Hmm?
is
Yeah.
it not out of pocket to just when I see that she keeps deflecting or like not answering questions properly, is it out of pocket to just go like how much do you make off of all of those external clients every month on top of your salary?
No,
Or
you
what's
just
your salary?
you just rephrase the question and go around it. Because there is a reason why she's not answering it. It's either she doesn't trust you, which, believe it or not, the fundamental of this conversation is trust aspect, or she is actually not making that much. Because if you will make fuck money, would you have any problems telling someone how much you're making, especially if the person doesn't fucking know you?
No, probably not.
Yeah.
So how do I rephrase it, go around it, how you said?
Oh, you just ask a different question, or give me an example of a question.
Well, I was trying to figure out how much her average client makes. And she didn't know, she wasn't answering it. Where do I go from there?
But then, okay, so let's say you ask this question directly, yeah? Cool. Obviously, she's not going to answer it because it's a very uncomfortable question to ask. So in this case, what you can do is go around it, which will be, oh, okay, so can you just clarify for me? You have mentioned to me you've been working now for 2 years at the bank. So how many clients are you managing in the bank? Is there any particular number that you have that you need to take care of? Okay. And how many do you have external wise? Okay, cool. And what would you say is the average size of an investment of the clients that you're working with externally? Because I know you have told me the highest one that you were able to get in was 18 million, but then what's the average?
Yeah, but I asked all those three questions and she kind of didn't answer any. She was
Yes.
like, oh, I can't tell you. So what, I just ask her again?
Yes. Or just rephrase the way you are asking it. Because she clearly didn't fucking answer it. So why?
She said she doesn't know.
Yeah, not fucking possible.
Right. Okay.
Or in the worst case, say, if you will have to fucking guess. Or
Okay.
you could quite literally ask if there was any goal for external clients last year, and how many has she received ever, like, because she was working at the bank 2 years, but she has been financial planner for 4 years after the CPF, or however we call it.
CFP, yeah.
Yeah. Then you ask her, okay, so in the 6 years, technically speaking, but 4 since she has the certificate. Since 4 years you've been working as an active financial planner, how many clients were you able to get in those 4 years? Okay, and what was the goal for last year? And how many were you able to get for last year? And then you can calculate how many she has. Or in the
Okay.
worst case, just ask 4 years and then divide it by 4. Then you will actually get some numbers that you can do something with. Because she just deflected your questions and you just took it. And because of it, you're not even able to like calculate anything out.
Joined the team, the capacity felt like it was too much. But over a few months, because you start to understand the systems, you start to, some things become so easy. Now I find myself, oh my gosh, I remember a few months ago, this number felt like a lot, but now I'm doing way more than this. And I still feel like I can do more. So I think it's also a thing of how comfortable you get, how quick you're able to get comfortable with what you're doing. That could potentially make more time available.
Right, so I see. So basically what you're saying is that this is your provisional, so to call it max capacity, but you're always looking to improve. What have you done towards that goal besides the events and the presentations and all that stuff? Are you doing anything specific, or are you trying to increase the amount of presentations you're doing?
So I am trying to do that because now our roles are somewhat changing in my division. They're wanting us to move into coaching roles because they find that people in my team seem to be more equipped than the average planner in the bank. And so what they're finding is they're seeing a high level of client complaints coming in, resulting in the bank paying out. So they want a few of us, about 10 of us, to switch into coaching roles where we're actually coaching the financial planners as to how you hold a conversation with the client and what products are suitable, factoring in the client's situation, what they need, where they are, because that's a big issue. There's a mismatch between advice, what the client needs versus what they've been given. There's a big disparity there. So they want us to come into the role. They haven't put a line in the sand and said when the date is, but they have told us that we're going to be transitioning into a coaching role where we're coaching the planners so that it leads to a less likelihood of paying out because planners are now making correct recommendations.
And
so is this why you're currently at the university? Are those the skills you said you want to acquire? And after that, you want to clarify if this is the direction she wants to go long term, or if long term she also wants to have the 20 clients that she mentioned.
And would that mean that you would be purely in a coaching role, or would you still have time to deal with your existing clients?
So it seems from the discussions, if I understand correctly, that we will be switching into purely coaching roles.
And you wouldn't be allowed to have clients besides.
I wouldn't be allowed to have clients within the bank. I wouldn't be allowed to know.
Within the bank. Right?
Yes.
What about the external, for example, this couple that your biggest client, the couple that you're working with? Would you still retain
That
them as a
they
client?
would. So no, they would actually be passed on to another client, another planner rather, someone that has similar type of clients. So it would be like a handover. Yeah.
And are you fine with that? We just want to understand which direction she actually wants to go. Because if she's gonna become a coach, there's nothing you can do for her. Unless if she actually gonna tell you she wants to become a coach, play with it. What I mean by this, try to do a fucking buy or die and just try to convince her that, she doesn't know when the date is, so might just as well make more money while she still can. Like, you can go that direction as well, because in the worst case, like, what's gonna happen? You're not gonna sign her. Ooh, you're not gonna sign her anyways.
Yeah.
So you would basically lose all your commission, understood correctly?
I will still be getting a portion of it until a certain so they haven't told us how many months or years that will work for, but for a certain period of time, for certain clients that we did bring in, you will be getting like trail commission. And then after that point in time, it stops because you're no longer taking care of the client.
What about the situation wherein you're in the coaching role, but you continue bringing in clients externally to the bank? Do you get paid for the commission, even for like?
I feel like that I wouldn't get it from the bank. It would actually be now the planners that I've built a relationship with. What is the agreement between us? If I bring your client, what portion or what percentage of the commission do I get?
Right. So if you, let's say, have a system that brings in, I don't know, 15, 20 clients a month, it wouldn't be like you would still use it even in the coaching role, right? Like you would just pass it on to your colleagues, get a percentage of it. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
And that percentage would be taken from their 50%
Yes,
of the coaching.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So like a bit lower.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. What role do you have at the moment in the team? And what's your relationship with the team, your division?
So with the team, I'm called an advice specialist, and currently it's like a planning and coaching role. So I have some planners that will call me and be like, I've got a client in this situation. What would you recommend? What would you advise? Or can you assist me with the needs analysis? Where are the shortfalls? What products are the most suitable for this client? Yeah.
So you're an advice specialist in a certain division, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Oh, a needs analyst sounds
You
like
have this
such
EFP
BS.
exam. Would you consider
Huh?
Said needs analyst sounds like such corporate BS.
Welcome to 9 to 5. Welcome
They
to
have a person called need analyst.
yeah.
Incredible.
You will be surprised by the names in corpus. Like some of them are borderline retarded.
Yeah.
You look at the description of their job, you think to yourself that this person is not doing anything throughout the whole day.
once you move into the coaching role, does the bank not allow you to also work as an independent planner on the side? Is that something you don't want to do?
It's something that I want to do, but the bank would see that as a conflict of interest.
Right.
Depending on where the client is situated. So if the clients are situated in South Africa, they would see that they would flag that as a conflict of interest.
But you're also allowed to work, if I'm not wrong, with the South African regulations, you're allowed to work with clients outside South Africa, right?
Yes, but there's some things, like for example, we couldn't give advice on tax because they say we're not in that jurisdiction, so they wouldn't permit us to give advice on that.
Understand. So what's your goal? Maybe, so short term, we've established that you want to, I'm assuming you want to do well with this coaching role, right?
I want to do well.
What about like?
It's not, the coaching role is actually not something that I'm passionate about, but that's the direction that the division is moving in. So it's not a thing of I have a choice, it's a thing of this is the decision that management has made, and that's the direction we're headed. Ideally, I want to go back into planning, but I want to be planning for ultra high net worth clients. So I'm actively looking for roles within another division in the bank that deals with ultra high net worth clients. I'm just waiting for interview dates and all of that, but vacancies have become available. We just haven't started the interview process yet. So I want to go back into wealth planning, financial planning, but for wealthy individuals.
So she doesn't really want to do it. She's just being forced into it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. You have discovered a point of her not being comfortable. So you should have pressed on it, so you can figure out how important or what circumstances will change on the basis that, let's say, all her private clients will allow her to sustain herself. Because I think she's currently not making enough to be able to, for example, say no to the bank.
Yeah.
Or you will want to still clarify if she wants to go into the coaching direction, which she doesn't really like, and she's being forced into, but then just bring clients to the bank so she can get provision of it.
I'm a bit confused because the goal makes sense, but I don't understand why then would you do another division where you have to basically cut your commission in half and instead of doing it independently, especially that you have experience.
The reason I do the other division is because the division that I'm working with, they get majority of their leads from the general bankers. The division that I'm wanting to get into, although it's still financial planning, their segment deals with strictly ultra high net worth clients. So it's only you have to have a certain amount of monies, like really wealthy individuals. And so in that division, it's not heavily commission based. It's more salary and then performance incentives every quarter.
But wouldn't it still, let's say you become an independent planner and you are focusing on ultra high net worth individuals and you land, let's say, even one client, wouldn't it make you more money off of the fee of the commission than
it definitely would, but the thing I think with being an independent planner is in the scope of South Africa is there's certain licenses you need to have, and those come at a cost. So that comes at a cost. Number two, when you're independent, you take on everything. So the admin and all of that. Currently, I'm not doing the admin. There's somebody else that does that. So that's an added thing that you have to take on. And I think the third thing is probably maybe my network wouldn't expose me to that many ultra high net worth in comparison to these divisions, because it's the bank's current clients. So,
I see, but then well, I understand the licensing argument, the total cost, etc. takes time, but in terms of amount of leads, you from how I see it, you only need a few of these individuals in your network to make more than the commission after you shared it with the division. Or am I seeing it wrong?
Wait, I think I'm not understanding your question, maybe.
So you're saying, as part of the argument of not being an independent financial planner, is that your network
Mhm.
does not have many ultra high net worth individuals. The bank has a
Correct.
whole, right? So then the bank has a
Yes.
lot of connections, they have a lot of these clients.
Yes.
But from how I see it, it seems to me that you don't need as many if you're independent, because even 1 or 2 clients will generate you more in commission than your salary would have with the bank.
That could potentially be true. That could
Right.
potentially be true. Yeah.
So yeah, technically,
Yes, but this is not the direction she wants to go, more or less. Like she doesn't have enough self-belief in order to do that. That's the problem. So what you will want to do is actually do negative report here. And figure out if it's the self-belief or if it's generally only the financial aspect of things, which is just the licensing and administration. But then the administration will mean that she's lazy. Because it's more comfortable being in a 9 to 5 where everything else works around her. She just gets her salary. And if she does something, she gets provision. If she does not do anything, she doesn't get provision.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex, just write yourself this down, 3540. Cool. Guys, I see you tomorrow.